Morning, Graham, and thanks very much for joining Blue Notes on the morning of this interim result. One of the key elements in the result is just over 700 million of specified items, which were behind the significantly lower statutory profit. Can you walk us through those specified items?
The first one was really the change in policy on capitalised software, and that reflected two changes. The first was to increase the threshold for which we use before we capitalise. And the second one was to narrow the criteria which we use for capitalisation as well. The change, why do we change? Well, it was really reflecting the fact that in today's environment, a lot of the technology has a much shorter useful life, and that's particularly true in the digital world. And so it reflects that, but it also reflects a discipline that we want to have across the business, where we expense more in today's results and not put it on the slate to be expensed in the future.
So in essence, you're sort of paying for technology projects as they appear rather than taking them in bits and pieces over the years.
Yeah, we're paying more. So what we've done here is we're not only doing that from the 1st of October 2015 onwards, which in this half we're seeing 161 million higher OPEX as a result of that change, but we've also gone through the past balance sheet as at the start of October last year, and we've taken a charge of 468 million, which reflects the projects we'd done in the past that were sitting on the balance sheet, which would be under the new rules subject to faster accelerated amortisation as well. And of course, what we will see is that our OPEX will be slightly higher for the next 18 months or so, but as we go through that period, because of the reduction in capitalised balances, we'll see then amortisation costs come down.
And then those other elements of the specified item charge?
Yeah, so the second one was we took a restructuring provision of 138 million for reducing costs in the business restructuring, some of which we've already done in the first half. Around 2/3 of that we've identified and will have its full effect through the second half. The third item was the valuation of our minority investments in Asia. We saw a write-down of our valuations on AmBank by 260 million, and also we saw a gain on sale as we saw the Bank of Tianjin minority investment listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange on the 30th of March.
So, I mean, they're not the only partnerships. How do you determine, which ones you can do this with and whether they're up or down?
We review all of those assets every 6 months. We look at it internally and they get signed off by the external auditors.
And with revenue growth subdued and the turn in the credit cycle, big focus then on cost management. We've spoken a little bit about that, but are there particular areas in the cost management of the business that you're focused on?
Yeah, I think that's one of the highlights of our result, actually. I mean, we saw costs, excluding the specified items, up by only 0.3% for the full year and down 1.4% for the half on half. I think that's a very strong result. I mean, that really, sort of as a result of the simplification activities going on in the business. It has meant that we've been reducing our staff, and you've seen our FTE numbers coming down as well. 4.6% for the full year, and we've been quite disciplined around not hiring, which is sort of good for our existing employees, and where there are vacancies, it means we don't go externally for people. We try to absorb people who may find their jobs disappearing within the organisation. So that's a bit of a positive, I think.
Well, look, thanks very much for speaking with Blue Notes. Thanks, Graham.
Okay, pleasure, Andrew.